Hello everyone, welcome back to the Football Amateur Show, a show hosted by three amateur footballers, more importantly friends, who love to discuss and debate football. Today we'll be discussing Champions League, Europa League, the recap of the previous EPL games, the championship semi-final coming up this weekend, of course, MLS. And listen out for the end for our question of the day. We got a great question today, a good debate we're going to have at the end. And first off, we just want to say thank you so much to all the support we've gotten this past, for the first episode. We got a lot of listens. I just really appreciate all the support from my friends and family, and of course, viewers like you. Thank you guys. There we go. Wow. Wow. Now, guys, we are now officially on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, TuneIn, Stitcher, guys, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
Where are we?
Wow. Check that out.
The question is, where are we?
Where are we not in? That's the question for sure. So you can check us out on those platforms. And we would really appreciate a 5-star review on our iTunes podcast. What's good? And if you would like to support the podcast, you can support at anchor.fm/football-amateur-show/support. Any donation will be fine. $1, 25 cents. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Don't be cheap.
Hey, we need more equipment. Right, guys?
Gotta get enough money to rent out a room here.
Come on, man. We college students. But anyway, let me introduce my co-host today. We got Ahmed, of course, Amaraji, right? Amaraji. I'm sorry. There we go.
I almost pronounced it wrong. All right.
We got, of course, Michael Milner.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon. How do you know? What if they're listening at night?
It is afternoon currently. So
Okay.
If so, I apologize.
Of course, Tristan Mancia behind the scenes.
But behind the desk this time.
Oh, dude, today we have an interesting setup. And last but not least, what you've all been waiting for. Here's truly. Alfonso! There we go, guys. So, before we begin, how's everyone doing? Doing good?
Doing all right.
Yeah, everything good?
All right, pretty tired.
Yeah?
Can't be better.
Can't be.
Yeah, I bet you could.
I know, right? We got a Liverpool fan up here. So, I guess we can go on to our first the first discussion today. We got, of course, the recap of yesterday's game, Liverpool versus Barcelona. Initial thoughts, let me go, Ahmed, since you're our biggest fan. Initial thoughts.
Liverpool! Well, I mean, there's not much to say, man. Everyone, even Klopp says it himself.
Oh, dude.
He says it in the interview. He's like, show me one man that put one penny on Liverpool coming back and advancing in that stage. It's insane. And he even tells the players before the game, he's like, it's almost impossible, but because of you guys, it's there's a chance.
Hell yeah.
Because you guys are the players, there's a chance. And boy, did they prove him right.
Oh my God.
Did you see what Wenger said the week before? He said the last place you want to go off and play that final leg is in Anfield.
It's true.
And he was
I heard
exactly
that.
right.
It's so true.
And that's the thing.
True.
Liverpool has a history of this. We did it to AC Milan in, I think it was 2006. Where AC Milan, it was a final game though.
Yeah.
AC Milan was
3-0,
up
right?
3-0 at halftime, and literally 3 goals in 45 minutes, and we were able to come back. That's unbelievable. That's the Anfield's one of the only few places I'd say that can produce that atmosphere and really change the game.
Right. The fans were amazing. They're one of the best fans in the world.
Really.
So, for you guys, did you feel like it was more about Liverpool winning, or was it more about Barcelona losing? Which did you feel more?
More Liverpool winning. Liverpool winning.
Thought so?
Yeah, I think so. Because it was such a big comeback to come back from 3-0 to go 4-0 and at home with their fans. It was more. I think it was more about Liverpool than it was about Barcelona. I think.
I honestly think the hardest part about that match, I feel, is that also, we're not just trying to score 4 goals. We're trying to stop Messi and stop Suarez and stop Coutinho from even getting 1 goal.
And they did.
One goal will take them to the final.
You guys stopped Coutinho, Suarez.
They got damn close too.
Yeah, they
Messi.
did.
Messi had a goal shot right in front of the goal, missed it.
He hit the post, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he got really close. Alisson
my
had
God.
an
There's a
insane
few.
save.
Alisson had a few incredible saves. Yeah, he kept you in that.
Incredible saves.
Yeah.
I almost felt that Barcelona played a little bit stubborn.
What do you think?
No,
Yeah.
and just
Barca plays this certain kind of soccer where
they
like
were
or football, I
lazy.
guess,
They
but
weren't really. I don't know. They weren't attacking the ball.
They weren't
Their
playing
midfield
with a
looked
sense of
exhausted.
urgency.
Their midfield
Yeah,
looked
exactly.
exhausted to play.
Yeah.
Busquets looked so tired running around. Rakitic, it almost seems like
Oh,
since the World
Rakitic,
Cup,
yeah.
he hasn't been the same.
Mhm.
And
that's
I
true.
almost think it's fair to blame it on that because you look at Modric and he's been having similar problems.
Mm-hmm.
But that Barca midfield just let that happen. Sergio Busquets,
Yeah.
probably one of the smarter players in the world when you think about him,
Mm-hmm.
and to allow that to happen was pretty incredible. Barca's such a pass-heavy first team
Right.
that I feel like they almost tried to stick to that so hard that they weren't willing to just boot the ball up and then try to win a ball up there so that they weren't getting attacked. It almost
Right.
felt like Liverpool had pushed up so far the field that they were just, every time Barca turned over the ball,
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool was already attacking them again.
Right.
And they were on the front foot for the entire match. I mean, there
Yeah.
were very few times where I felt like Liverpool was really getting attacked for a long period of time.
Right. And you know who had a really good game? Origi had a really, really
Yeah,
good game.
honestly,
An incredible
great
game.
Dude,
Mhm.
just looking at the team, the starting lineup, like
Yeah.
people, Barca probably looked at that starting lineup and could not obviously went into that game confident, overconfident,
Of course.
underestimated the team,
Mhm.
and were like one of their top two players aren't on the pitch.
Right.
Like
Well,
even if
two of them.
Firmino
Firmino wasn't even in, right?
wasn't
Yeah.
in,
And
Salah
Salah was
wasn't in.
out.
Yeah.
So these guys are obviously like we don't even have to sit back that much. That's the thing. Like they don't have to park the bus. They don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they thought. And honestly, some very clever plays by Alexander Arnold.
What did you guys think of that corner?
That was incredible.
That
I know
corner was
a lot of
incredible.
people are upset about that, but
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
God.
people are upset about it, but the whole point of a corner is you're supposed to catch people off guard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
That's the whole point.
I just couldn't believe that happened to Barcelona. Like,
it's the last thing you
How?
expect it to happen to.
Exactly.
How?
I mean, Barca are known for
Yeah.
defending set pieces. Like
Right.
set pieces don't go in on Barcelona. Like
Yeah.
Barcelona is the one that puts in set pieces. Like,
Right.
and we saw that last game. Like they clearly know like set pieces are the thing, and
Mhm.
to catch them off guard like that, 6 players staring at Origi, watching
Oh,
a goal go
dude.
straight into the top corner.
it was so. I got so hyped. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, oh my God.
Just
it was
watching
awesome.
that go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so, like, oh my God. It was crazy. I'm not even a big fan, but man, it was. I felt so, like,
That's
happy.
the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You just have to be a football fan.
Exactly,
to
exactly.
be,
I was like, this is crazy.
To witness a moment like that, a comeback where
Yeah.
all odds are against you.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Those moments
It
are always
really is
incredible.
I don't know.
I guess Barca's starting to get a little bit used to it.
Oh, dude, that sucks. It really
so
does.
sad.
I guess this goes.
Really sad,
Do you think they're gonna sack?
I think that they need to call for Valverde's drum.
Really?
I mean-
I do. It's
Yeah, I think so.
it's getting to the point where it's a little bit unacceptable
Yeah.
at
I
this
mean,
point.
it sucks because they won the league, right?
Well, they
and
win the
then-
league every year.
exactly,
Who's
right?
Let me ask you this: who's going to challenge for it?
Yeah.
As
That's
far as
true.
on a
Actually-
talent
Especially
level,
this
nobody's
year
even
Good
close.
point.
on
Good
the-
point. Good point.
Once Ronaldo left the league, there really is.
It's just
There
Barcelona.
was no challenge. Like
Yeah.
Atletico tried for a bit, and then
Right.
they hit a couple of rough patches, and that's it. They basically handed Barcelona the lead. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's why Messi in the beginning of the season came out and promised at Camp
See that-
Nou.
Once he
No,
said it,
I
I
mean-
really believed it.
Yeah, I know.
really believed it.
And that's what people said. And even our last show, we said
Yeah.
like Messi's possessed by the Champions League.
Exactly, dude. And
But he could not. But
I-
can
I-
he do it at a cold night at Anfield?
Yeah.
exactly.
I feel like they've
Yeah.
almost become too dependent on Messi to play a good game.
Exactly.
I think so.
It
too.
just looks like. I
I
mean,
think so,
and back to what we said earlier, like last week, Dembele needed to score that goal. They needed to put away
Yeah,
their
man.
chances, and this wouldn't have
If he
happened.
would have scored that goal, it would have at
That
least
one
gone an
goal.
extra.
It would
They
have at least
would've
gone
won.
It
extra.
would have
Not-
gone an extra.
And it
Not
might not
even.
have done
They
that
would have
because
won on
No,
away.
No, because
no,
it's
it would have
4-0.
been 4-0 for both of them.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
But
4-0
the thing is
for
that to come back from a 4-0 is so much bigger than a 3-0.
Yeah,
I almost don't even know if the heart would have been in it. But
exactly.
Yeah.
that, nonetheless, to that, just the unclinical nature that they had in the last game came out to bite them.
Yeah, and I heard after this game that they're actually considering selling Coutinho after this game.
I can't blame
I saw
him.
that.
He hasn't played
Yeah.
well all year.
Yeah,
He
I
hasn't
mean,
played well. His attitude is
it's not the
just
same.
not the same.
And he's a great
And
player. He's a great, player.
player.
Just inconsistent.
He
I
is
think
a
he's
great
got the
player,
funniest
just, yeah,
story.
definitely
Coutinho
inconsistent.
What?
Leaves Liverpool to go to the
I
Champions League
know.
challenging squad, and then
that
misses out on
sucks.
2 Champions League finals
Damn,
after
man.
leaving.
Nuh-uh.
That's pretty incredible. If they win it this year, then
Uh-huh.
wow, foot in mouth for him.
Yeah.
That's for sure, that's for
really,
sure.
definitely.
But
Yeah. Well, their chances aren't far off.
Yeah. Well, that leads us to our next topic, Ajax. Oh no, I pronounced Ajax wrong, by the way. How do you say it? How do you say
It's
it?
Ajax.
Ajax. My bad. In Spanish, Ajax.
Welcome to America.
Oh, jeez.
Ajax. So Ajax versus Spurs. I think, just like yesterday, I was the most hyped person. I was in the library. I was in the library studying. Right. Put the game right on the screen. It was like 5 seconds left. I was like, that's it.
Sure, not much studying.
Not much studying at all. At
I mean,
all.
when does studying ever get done with
Exactly.
watching these games?
Exactly.
And I
Finals
got
week
off
is
my
over.
chair, started screaming, and I got like 2 guys coming over here. What happened? What happened? And they were,
God.
dude. It was amazing. Dude.
Just when you think you've
Yeah.
seen the most incredible game in football, you're given a gift.
You're given
next
another one.
day.
Oh,
you're
my
given
God.
another one.
That's
That was-
crazy.
Like it's as if Tottenham literally watched the Liverpool game and were inspired. They were
It's
just
true.
inspired. They were like,
That's
"There's
true.
no way." Like even at the moment when they started the game with great chance. It was 1-0
Right.
at like one away goal. All they had to do is score one, and they'd at least be head on
Right.
with them. 2-1 win.
And
would
you've got your star
still
players
get 'em
back.
through. Yeah, and they got Son back. Like,
He
they
played
were-
well. He played well.
He always
Yeah.
plays
Son is-
fantastic. He's
yeah,
very
man.
he's very underrated in my opinion.
Yeah.
Son is definitely the spotlight was definitely on him for the past couple games. But Lucas Moura,
Yep.
like
Wow, what a game from
what
his.
a player! What a player! And if you go back to the previous podcast, you'll
Yeah.
hear me shout his name
Exactly.
and call him as the most dangerous man on that squad now.
Uh-huh.
And he really proved himself today. Like
Ex-
he proved that,
Mm-hmm.
like without Harry Kane, he filled his shoes and more.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Like,
did.
Yeah.
definitely.
We
filled
showed
his
up when they
shoes.
needed him most, for sure.
We were talking about it. We were talking about how those players that usually don't start, how they felt like they needed to step up, and they definitely stepped up and more. I feel.
Yeah,
I
that-
feel like.
That's definitely a big
Uh-huh.
topic. Is that what really inspired these players? Is that I feel that because the stars were not out there,
Right.
each player had to hold themselves more accountable for everything that was going on in the game. They no
Mhm.
longer had a star that they're just looking to pass this one star so he
And
can
then-
finish the game.
Mhm.
No, it's everyone is playing the exact same role at the same. The bar is set high for everyone. Like
Right.
Yeah,
And
I'm
they
sure you don't want to let
perform.
him down.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
exactly.
No
You're
one
talking
wants
about
to
those
let the
players
team
have
down.
led you this far.
Right.
You've been depending on
Exactly.
them, and you want
That's
to
a
be
good
able to.
point.
You want
That's
to
a
be able to
really
get
good
their
point.
back
And
for
this
a
is
game.
and this is what proves that
Mhm.
these two teams deserve to be there more than Barca. Like Barca,
Right.
Barca had their stars on the pitch.
Mhm.
What did they do?
Exactly.
Like
Not
people
only-
They
people were just sitting and watching and waiting for Messi to score goals, and he got them the 2 goals. In
Barca's
the first
team
match.
is waiting for him to do
Yeah,
that. For goodness
Barca's
sakes.
full team.
True.
Barca's
They're like, he
full
should just
team
give him the ball. He'll go fix it.
is
Right.
waiting for
Well-
them to score goals, and these teams were able to do it without their stars.
So this
Like-
goes. Did the deserving team win
In which game?
both games?
Both
Liverpool
games. So
and
we'll go
and
with Liverpool
Spurs.
first. I felt like Liverpool deserved to go through.
I think so too.
The dependentness upon Messi for
Mhm.
Barcelona. Now they're an exceptional squad, no doubt.
Right.
But that has to go. And the fact that you have this talented of a team, and not only that, but you have World Cup winners in this squad.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Jordi Alba, you've got PK, you've got a fantastic
Yeah.
goalkeeper, you've got Lionel Messi up front. You have so many leaders, and to allow a team such as this Liverpool squad, now nothing against them,
Right.
but the talent-wise leans heavily in Barca's favor. To not change how you're playing this game,
Mm-hmm.
it says a lot about Barcelona, and
Uh-huh.
they shouldn't be moving forward because of it.
To at least score at least one goal. You know what I'm saying?
Not even just to
Right.
score, but to
Or-
be able
or
to
at
defend
least
properly. Get the ball out.
Defend
Get the ball
that,
away
you know
from
what
your
I'm saying?
third.
Defend that.
They were
lead.
in there defending third for such a significant amount of this game. They
Exactly.
just needed to boot it forward and go and play defense there and try
Mhm.
to get a win there. But instead, they had sat back and they kept on trying to play this passing football. And instead, they ended up losing the ball. And every time they lost it, they ended up being attacked.
Right.
And this is what I said last episode. Last
Yeah.
game score did not reflect how Liverpool played
Liverpool
that
played great
game.
both games.
It really did.
They
It really
played
did.
both games
Great.
well. Klopp said it himself.
Yeah.
Again, that game versus Barca where we lost 3-0
Yeah.
was one of the best performances we put on that whole season.
That's fair to
Right.
say.
Like if you literally watch us all season, we had the most amazing passes that game. Like connecting and chemistry between the players was incredible. And even Salah was doing really well that game. Obviously, he did miss that open goal,
Mhm.
but overall, he had a really fantastic game.
It was a well-played game from them,
It
for
was-
sure.
And so that's what honestly tells you that like sometimes luck is on your side. And that's why these
Mhm.
competitions
Yeah.
are 2-leg matches, because 2 legs will draw out who is actually lucky and who's actually deserves the position.
Right.
Like, and Liverpool clearly proved that
Mm-hmm.
they deserve that spot.
Yeah.
Going back to Ajax versus Spurs, so who deserved that? Do you think the Spurs deserve that win?
I think so as well.
Me
I
too as
think I feel bad for Ajax.
Oh,
Because
I really do too.
I really
as
do
well.
because that team is so young. I mean,
Mhm.
you've got a 19-year-old. Is he 19?
19, I think.
He's
what's his name?
19-year-old.
He's
Yeah.
only 19.
He's only 19.
Yeah, but he's leading this squad, and it's hard to lead when you have that young of a team,
Right.
and that allows for things like what you saw today to happen.
Yeah.
Only though, well,
Uh-huh.
shoot, we saw it yesterday for goodness sakes, but
Right.
yeah, I feel like their age probably let them down, and
Their,
that probably
their
won't be
age
something
showed today because I saw them
Yeah.
at the end when they were up by 2-2. They were still like tied up in the aggregate. They were doing some trick plays, trying to do some fancy moves here and there, instead of actually controlling the ball, possessing, and going for that next goal.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 10-15 minutes.
I
And
mean, what's interesting is that that's what their style
True.
was throughout the
True.
whole competition.
But
They
I feel-
always had like, you
Uh-huh.
look at them and you're like, what, this style of football, we haven't seen this in years. Like,
right. It was young. It was young.
Yeah, it was definitely young.
And they lacked that maturity, I feel, to
Exactly.
finish
And
those games.
experience. I
And
mean, these
experience.
Yeah,
players-
you can't put their
yeah.
inexperience against them. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about people who are, I mean, in their low 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
You've barely played, so
Yeah.
it's tough for them, but they'll learn from it, and I doubt that'll be a lot of these people or
Yeah.
a lot of these kids' teams' last times in the finals, or not in the finals,
Or
but
at least in the-
semifinals.
Definitely not.
And what
They'll
I
be
really,
back for sure.
what I really love is the appreciation that the fans gave, even though
Yeah.
it was heart wrenching. Like that
Yeah.
final second,
I mean-
the fans still came out, applauded them for a great Champions League. No one expected
mean, you can't hold that
Ajax to
against- yeah.
go.
No
one
there's
expected
no
this far.
disappointment.
They should have been out in the
they're-
round of
Even
16.
with,
Exactly.
like, people might say, oh, they bottled,
Uh-huh.
whatever, that winning that spot, but, I mean, Tottenham were a fantastic team, too.
Awesome.
We can't forget the road that Tottenham took to Madrid. I mean,
Mhm.
they took out giants, like, they
Man
put
City's
Dortmund to
huge.
shame. Like, it
Right.
was terrible.
Yeah,
Like,
that was tough.
that was,
especially
yeah.
it was shocking. Like,
Yeah.
it was literally shocking. People were like, everyone said Dortmund was gonna.
that
like,
3-0 loss
whoop
really
for them.
broke
Yeah.
our season as well
And,
from a Dortmund fan
dude,
perspective.
Yeah, that is.
That's when
true.
everything started going downhill from Dortmund. I feel like that changed a lot in our squad. But
Mhm.
yeah, you're right exactly about that. They had a hell of a path to the,
They
the finals
really-
here. So.
and
Both teams,
what's
Spurs
crazy
and
is
Both of them, yeah.
Ajax.
Spurs were also in Barcelona's group stage,
Mhm.
and actually another factoid I wanted to bring up
Yeah.
is that both Liverpool and Spurs left the group stage.
Mhm.
They were tied with the third place position in the points,
Mm.
but left by
Like
advanced by
difference?
goal difference.
Really?
Both of them.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Liverpool was tied with Napoli.
Yeah.
Beat them by 1 point in goal difference.
Yeah.
And Spurs were tied with Inter Milan and
Wow.
beat them by goal difference.
It's
and
a
sent
crazy
both
journey.
teams to
Uh-huh.
Europa. And it's funny because at
Uh-huh.
the time, both teams, I'd say Tottenham was actually in better form than Liverpool at the time.
Mhm.
But I mean, they managed to get through, and that's what happens. The competition's long. It's not a 2-week competition.
It's drawn
where-
out. It starts all the way back in
yeah,
September.
Exactly.
You gotta
Exactly.
be in form. You gotta check yourself.
Right.
You gotta make sure that you're constantly keeping up. Like teams like Bayern Munich, like people
Mhm.
thought they were gonna
Right.
destroy Liverpool, but
Yeah.
Liverpool took it from them. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's how this whole Champions League has been.
I
It's
guess-
giants falling.
Overall, has this been the most entertaining Champions League in a long time? I feel, in my opinion, it's the most entertaining I've seen it in ever. I think, and because I mean, I was young, I couldn't see the other games, but like since high school, middle school, like this has been the most entertaining,
Yeah.
in my opinion, Champions League
Definitely.
that I've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most entertaining ones I've ever seen as well.
Right.
As far as teams coming back and really sticking.
Exactly, and seeing all those upsets.
Yeah.
Upsets I
wise.
would say is the biggest thing. Like you're talking
Yeah,
about
it's the theme of the
if you were to
Champions
have looked at me and said, "Hey, in the finals this year, you're gonna have Liverpool and Tottenham,"
I know.
I would have looked at
that's-
you and laughed.
Seriously.
Like that is unbelievable. But Liverpool have pulled it together so
Right.
well here at the end of the season.
Mhm.
Tottenham aren't even playing well in the league. I mean, I
Yeah.
think they
I
lost.
know.
For goodness
They've
sakes.
lost.
They just
I'd say.
lost.
I know.
Thank
They've
God they
lost,
have a
like,
few
the-
points to spare, but
Yeah.
that they pulled that out after that loss, I'm sure is a huge deal for them because they should have grabbed
Mhm.
that win there. But that's besides the point. They went out and they won when they needed to.
Right.
So.
So we got an English final.
Yeah,
English final. That's
English
crazy.
final.
the final will be coming back to
Yeah.
England.
Wow.
It's
been a
amazing.
minute.
It's
really is
been
amazing.
that's crazy.
We're all gonna see Arsenal.
Liverpool wants to
Arsenal
redeem
fans
themselves.
backing because I mean Arsenal and
Mhm.
Tottenham are the derby, so
Yeah.
they Arsenal fans for the first time ever backing Liverpool, and Man United fans for the first time ever
Going.
backing Tottenham.
Yeah.
'Cause
For sure.
They definitely don't want us to win
It's
the
gonna be good,
Champions
man.
League.
The Manchester United old players celebrating after Liverpool went down 3-0 from the Messi free kick
Yeah.
last
Dude.
week.
Yep.
Look,
That's
who's
a-
laughing
I
now?
wonder, I wonder how they're feeling right now.
Man,
laughing now?
if you go on any social media outlet,
Yeah.
people are going back to all those posts where Barca
I
fans
know.
were making fun
Oh
of
my
Liverpool
god.
Yeah.
and laughing. Like
Uh-huh.
things just keep popping back up on my feed from a week ago, and people are like, "You look really stupid now, huh?"
Yeah, dude, seriously.
Nobody's safe on
Like,
social media,
it's-
dude. You
yeah,
gotta be
so-
careful.
I know,
I-
dude. It comes back to
Let
you,
it
man.
finish.
Back to your ass.
Social
Yeah.
media is a beautiful place again. No, that's all I can say. I
The
avoided it
memes.
for a week, and now I'm like
We have
having a
me-
field day.
Like,
we have
welcome
good
back.
memes for
Yeah,
a good week. For a good
literally,
week,
welcome
man.
back. Like,
Well, that leaves us to our next topic. We got, of course, the Europa League coming up tomorrow. We're recording this on Wednesday again, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
And so tomorrow would be the Europa League semifinals. So we have the first one coming up. We have Arsenal versus Valencia. Initial thoughts on the 3-1 win, Arsenal.
Arsenal came out and played like they needed to at home.
Yeah,
Right.
finally.
They surprised me because they haven't been playing so well in the league.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been playing hot potato with 4th place, but
The scariest thing I think is just the Arsenal's defense, dude.
Honestly,
Oh my-
if I'm not sure if did you guys watch the game?
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes of that game
Yeah.
were horrendous.
Did you,
Yeah.
see, did you see that header? That he was trying to header back to
Yeah.
the goalie, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What are you
Yeah.
doing?"
Yeah.
What
I
are
think
you
that
doing?
Was, who was it? I think it
I
was.
forgot his name.
Oh man, I think it was Niles. I'm not sure who
Yeah.
it was, but
Yeah,
it was
dude.
bad.
That
man.
was. I was.
It
Who
was
does that? I'm like.
like at your home, you should be spanking
That
these
was
guys
the
from minute one,
riskiest thing.
putting the pressure. Like they were
Yeah.
really just showing that. Like
Yeah.
they had a chance right in front of goal, 2 chances right in front of goal. One of them went in,
Yeah.
and Valencia felt like, oh man, this is over. It's in our hands.
Yeah.
But magically, like for the first time
Yeah.
for Arsenal in a long time, they were able to like put that one goal and
yeah, that cutback to
Aside-
Lacazette was really nice.
yeah, man,
Mhm.
Lacazette,
That was fantastic. I don't know what the
Yeah.
Valencia goalkeeper was thinking.
Yeah,
That was a little bit wild to come out of the way out. But
yeah, it was a little off position.
nonetheless, good goal from them.
Lacazette, Aubameyang.
they were phenomenal.
They're a
Phenomenal.
strong. They're a strong couple of forwards.
And
Yeah,
that's the
I will say
thing, the
that.
positioning of that, like their formation,
Mhm.
that game. Aubameyang even says it himself. Like
Yeah.
the Unai Emery doesn't like usually playing with that 2 forward Lacazette Aubameyang.
Yeah.
But Aubameyang admits in like one of his interviews that he likes playing with a 2-man
Two up
forward, and that game really proves that really he
Uh-huh.
thrives in that
Right.
formation where he has Lacazette and they both like touches and passing.
It's amazing to
It's
see
amazing. It's
when
amazing.
they're
It's
when they're
great
both in
football.
form and both connecting, good chemistry in the
Yeah.
game. It's just amazing to see because they're
Yeah, they
two
looked
great
good.
forwards, but I don't feel like they've shown it. I know Aubameyang has a lot of goals in the league, but it just doesn't feel like they're having.
Is he third most in the league this year?
He's third most in the
He's
league.
third most,
Yeah.
right?
And he's
not far off.
He's not far off,
Aubameyang,
but he's
yeah.
also missed a lot of chances. As well.
He's missed
He
it
has
for,
missed a
like
lot
he
of
could
chances.
But
be
he's
in
good. No,
first.
he's good.
But
I'm
that's
not.
the
I'm
thing.
not.
Oh
I'm
no,
not.
he's fantastic.
I'm not
Any
holding him
He's
up.
striker will
Yeah.
miss chances. It's
Exactly.
about how many chances you're creating,
Right.
and then obviously how many you're putting in the back of the net. I
It's
mean,
it's one of those things where they're great players, but people just don't talk about them because it feels like they're not playing great. But
Yeah.
but they've been playing great whole season.
He's
They
been
just
quietly doing his thing for a while.
I mean-
exactly quietly,
Yeah.
quietly.
and no, I mean Aubameyang and Lacazette, the duo is definitely getting attention nowadays. I mean,
Right.
people know that they are a dangerous striker. The only reason Arsenal is not doing that well
Mhm.
is their back line. Like
Yeah, dude, it really
Mustafi
is.
has got to go.
Yeah.
Ozil
Uh-huh.
has got to go just to make room for the
Yeah.
wages.
Mhm.
Ozil is getting paid big money,
Yeah.
and he's not.
Well, they
making
should
big
have
plays.
a fair bit of money left over from Alexis Sanchez leaving. They should have a
That's
fair
the
bit of
thing.
cap
The
space.
managers
Mhm.
really do not want to spend money. And
Right.
and another thing
I
is
know that
they
they're
paid
huge.
a lot for
They're a conservative
Mustafi
squad,
at the
but-
time, and
yeah.
they're really conservative. You know the Arsenal owner owns the Nuggets or has
Shut
shares in
up.
the Nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you when you
yes.
said the nugget, you meant the nugget.
No,
Guys over here at Here at CCLB, we have a restaurant called
Why
the
would you
Nugget.
have shares in that? It would be like you could just buy the thing out of the
They bought
Yeah.
some nugget. it's a big revenue.
Wow.
But yeah,
Time to
yeah.
get some better hot sauce.
The
bro.
Nuggets and the Rams. They own the Rams.
shout out the
or
Rams,
He
too.
has like a big portion of the
Wow,
ranks.
well, that's
So-
crazy.
Just in case
Yeah.
anybody's curious,
And
I do need
they
money for
made
college.
it to the
so.
finals last time, and the Nuggets are doing really well this year. So
Right.
hopefully they'll start dropping some money in Arsenal so we can see them back on top. I mean,
That's so true.
and I'm sure Arsenal fans, if Tottenham wins the Champions League,
Uh-huh.
Arsenal will throw a riot.
Uh-huh.
They
Yeah,
will
they will.
throw a riot. They will go
Well,
demanding money to spend on players.
Well,
Turn
this is
North
their
London white.
this
Yeah.
is their last chance to get into the Champions League because it's almost
Yeah,
impossible
this is- no,
to get
it's
forward.
impossible.
Points-wise, it's impossible for them,
Mathematically
yeah.
No, they actually have 67. Tottenham has 70. But
But
goal difference,
difference is
it's
like 8
It's
points.
plus 8. So unless
There's no
So
way.
what you're
I
telling
don't
me is
think
that
so.
Arsenal needs to come out and spank their next game,
Which
8
is-
to
Which is
0.
Everton,
Which
I
one is
think.
it?
No, it's not. I think Tottenham.
Okay,
play
let's be
Everton.
honest.
Burnley.
Arsenal's
Burnley.
not beating anybody
Burnley's
by
been
8
doing
points.
pretty good, man.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. What were you
Stop
saying? Sorry. What was it?
saying that a team can beat somebody by 8 points.
No,
Yeah,
That's
no,
not
eight
or
happening.
points, it
or
hasn't
Spurs
been seen.
lose by like 4. Arsenal
Yeah.
wins by 4.
Yeah, that's.
You know?
I mean,
It's-
that's like the only probability.
Stop it, dude.
Even,
There's a
even
chance,
then,
there's a
the
chance,
chance
guys.
is very, very big.
All right.
Very
No, I'm just
slim.
kidding.
Wow, this is such an
They
Arsenal
have
thing to
more-
do.
I
To fight
know,
for
right?
fourth place like
They
that.
have,
I
they have
know.
more of a chance to what's it called, win Europa and get.
I think so.
And get
I
through,
think so. Yeah.
Than to do that.
Yeah, they do.
And they
Uh-huh.
also had 4 games to get way ahead.
Get
of
way
all.
ahead, yeah.
Against
And
Brighton,
no
like,
one-
come on. How you
like-
gonna, but I mean, I digress. But we talk a lot about Arsenal, but let's talk a little bit about Valencia.
I think Valencia played a fantastic game, to be honest.
really
They played a really good game.
They had- they
had
did
some
score
defensive
first.
errors.
They
They
scored
scored
first.
first,
Mhm.
and they were on the front foot for a fair bit of that game.
Yeah.
I felt as though that game could have been more righteously 3-2. Obviously, it was 3-1 at the end of the day, but
Right.
that game could have easily gone 3-2, which
Yeah.
would have given them a little bit of help to come back home and play. But
Uh-huh.
Arsenal still needs to come and play away in
Which
Spain,
is
now,
which
which
is
is always
tough for them. I
which is
think.
always tough for them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And Valencia is not an easy place. Even Barcelona admits that Valencia's home is not an easy stage to play on. Like,
And-
it's
uh-huh.
going to be a tough game. For
And Valencia
Arsenal.
has the advantage almost because they have 1 away goal. So all they have to do is
Yeah.
score 2 goals.
2 goals will get them through.
I feel like that's
And,
possible.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think they've had enough fuel watching the last 2 days.
Oh my God! To inspire them. I
Like
know.
this
Yeah.
should
It's
be nothing.
possible.
This should
It's
be
possible.
nothing. It's definitely
4
Anything
goals.
is
Come
possible.
on.
It's definitely
2 goals, easy.
possible.
But yeah.
But
So I guess we can go back to the predictions. I know we predicted this last time, but now that we've seen the first game, what are your predictions for tomorrow's game
honestly,
for the
Yeah.
Europa League,
for Valencia versus
Okay.
Arsenal? That's a tough one. I feel. If Aubameyang and Lacazette click like they did, I feel it would be a tie, but I feel like Valencia is going to come out to win. But then again, Arsenal, they need to win this game to go to the final, make it back to the Champions League. So it's a hard decision to make, a lot of factors. But I think Arsenal are going to make it through, I feel. And it's going to be 2-1 Valencia win. Arsenal goes through by that 1 goal. 90th minute. 90th minute.
let's hear this.
2-minute extra time. They'll make it in the 1 minute and 30-second mark. Count it right now, guys. Count it right now.
Wow,
Right now.
he's even
no.
calling the amount of extra time.
I don't
they're
think
gonna
so.
add on.
I honestly think Valencia can do it.
I think Valencia
I
can do it
really
as
They
well.
can do
I
it.
have to agree.
Valencia
Definitely.
can do
You
it.
called it almost exactly last week. I think
Yeah.
you said 2 or
Yeah.
3-1.
Dude, I was
Yeah.
I was re-listening to the episode, right?
But yeah,
Religiously.
You're just
as
trying
I-
to get us
as I
used.
usually.
Alfonso's like playing it on
This is
all
a great-
of,
this
all of
is-
his
I know.
devices.
Because this is a great
Look, guys,
show.
we got 20
I know.
views.
Like,
It's a great show.
And the thing is, like, look
Trying to get paid.
at Ajax and Tottenham. You think Ajax learned a lesson? Like watching
Oh,
that
man.
Barca game, you think
Yeah.
Ajax learned a lesson?
You think Barca would have learned a lesson for God's sakes? I mean,
But I mean,
Oh,
like,
God, seriously, but yeah.
like
Yeah.
they, Ajax clearly had, what's it called? Ajax clearly had like a big example that Barca was like, lost my train of thought.
I can't
Sorry.
believe it.
Okay, guys. Sorry.
Sorry, everybody.
We're-
Somebody just
Let me
walked
tell
up
you
to
the
the door.
situation that we're in right now. All right. So we're in a random classroom here at Cal Salami's Boys and Girls, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not sure if people are trying to come in here and wait for the class or not. So yeah, we're in an
This
interesting
is
situation.
not 5-star quality.
This is
podcast.
an interesting studio we have here, an interesting studio setup here.
But
guys.
anyways.
But so Valencia, what do you think?
Yeah, so
score
honestly,
was?
my score prediction would probably be.
This is at Valencia, or is
At Valencia.
It's at Valencia, right?
I'll keep
Yeah.
that.
I would say, man, 2-0 Valencia.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can
Yeah,
see
I
that
can
happening
see it.
too.
I can see it, man.
You? What do you think?
I would
Michael?
call the same thing. I think
2-0.
2-0 Valencia and they go through. I don't.
Yeah.
I really
Uh-huh.
don't trust anything less than Arsenal going away from home,
Yeah.
especially to
Especially
a
with their
strong Spanish
defense.
club like Valencia.
Yeah.
Valencia
Yeah.
gave Atletico Madrid a hard time.
Yeah.
They beat Real
Exactly.
Madrid in the last month. It was
Right.
just a few weeks ago, actually, I think.
Uh-huh.
In their last game, they just won 6-2.
Yeah.
Who,
They
against
just, Huesca or
Huesca.
Huesca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I trust
They
anything
beat the
Ahmed
brakes off
says.
Huesca, but
I trust
Yeah.
anything Ahmed says. That's for sure.
Yeah, be sure
So-
to check in for Ahmed's bets.
Ahmed's
I guess.
bets?
I mean, honestly, it's just
Uh-huh.
like every time you think Arsenal's about to like
Yeah.
change their form or like learn their lesson and they're about to change, they don't. They don't.
Yeah,
Leicester
no.
City, they lost 3-0. Wolves, they lost 3-0.
Yeah.
The only hope
Like-
is to see that they're in form in the Europa League though. So
yeah,
I-
that's
I-
the thing.
I
If
hope.
you could look at the two leagues separately,
Yeah.
Arsenal's Europa League form has been
Yeah.
pretty good.
All right, guys. Now on to our next topic. We got Frankfurt versus Chelsea. Initial thoughts on the 1-1 tie last week.
I think one of us called it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I called the score on that one. That it would
Ahmed
be
was like
1-1.
straight up
Yeah,
on it,
last
dude.
last
He-
week was
dude, he's
fire.
like-
Yeah.
Definitely last week's fire.
You got to make a bet.
Not
You know what I'm
usually
saying?
that on top of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Chelsea has had some bad form, but Chelsea's also unpredictable.
They're picking up.
Yeah,
They're picking up in the league.
unpredictable. Some games they'll
Yeah.
They're
turn
fourth in
things
the league
around.
table, right?
They're fourth, and they're secured into the
I think
Champions
they're
League
actually in third in the table right now.
Over
They
Tottenham.
They even went
You're
over
right.
Tottenham.
Right,
Yeah,
Tottenham
they-
went down.
They jumped Tottenham because
That's
Tottenham
true.
got a
So,
loss.
and it's funny because
Yeah.
at the beginning of the season, like Chelsea was stuck at third for a while, and then
Mhm.
that's when they took a major dip.
And now they're slowly. I think they came back at the right time. They're coming back right at the
Yeah.
right time.
Yeah.
And I
It's
gotta
a-
say, 1-1 away is a good result for Chelsea.
not a bad result.
It's a good result
It
for
is
Chelsea.
a good result for
And
Chelsea.
their one goal that they conceded was
Mhm.
honestly just lazy defending.
Oh my god.
It was that header
Yeah.
should have been covered
Yeah.
by David
Which
Luiz.
is
He was
one of their biggest problems right now. I mean,
Which is
Yeah.
weird because they started off really well. Chelsea's defensive form. Marcos Alonso having a great assist going down the line. Defensively, David Luiz is the same. And if you look at the stats, let me put up the stats right here. They are actually. Well, I don't have the stats with me right here, but I had the stats. I was looking up the stats. They're actually pretty good in clean sheet wise. They're
Yeah.
actually like fourth or fifth clean sheets, but they picked up most of their goals conceded in these past few weeks,
Yeah.
right? They've been doing pretty bad. So, which is weird to me, like how defensively they just lost form in these past, like I guess, month, you could even say.
yeah.
But slowly, I feel like they're picking it up. I really hope they can keep consistent from what they've been doing in the EPL and bring it, well, I guess in tomorrow's game at home, which I think they can do.
I think that they
definitely
will.
can. I think they will.
It looked like their defense is picking up, and as well, Conte seemed to be running around a little
Oh,
bit
right,
more,
Conte,
which
yeah.
is kind of his return to usual. For the last month, watching them play, it seems like he's kind of taken his foot off the gas for a little bit,
Hmm.
but it seems like he seems to be getting back into it. So I wouldn't put it past Chelsea to go through in the next game, getting a win at home.
So, do you think Frankfurt has a chance to go through? What do you think? What does Frankfurt need to do to get past Chelsea at home?
They have a solid side. I mean, they have a definite chance of going through. In my opinion, I just think that Chelsea will pull through.
I think so too.
I mean,
but,
this weekend,
mhm.
Bayern Munich beat Frankfurt 6-2.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just
6-2.
coming off
So
a
that was
big
major.
loss.
They're coming off a big
Big
loss.
loss.
But I mean, teams turning it around.
Again-
you can't judge
Yeah.
especially in a cup. Like teams can really turn things around.
It's hard to
And-
gauge yourself like that though. 'Cause,
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
earlier Dortmund lost to Bayern Munich 5-1 just not
Yeah.
too long ago, and I mean they're
Yeah.
not a bad team,
Yeah,
given they're out of
exactly.
form a little bit. But
Yeah.
I
And
think-
obviously, some
yeah.
goals do come as luck. So, I mean, like luck is on your side in certain games, and so, I mean, it's still gonna be a tough game. Like they've
Yeah.
proven many games in a row that they can, like, take control of the game, and so I wouldn't like write them off yet. And
Right.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
either. Chelsea's goal that they actually picked up against Frankfurt wasn't. I mean, it wasn't totally just their luck that they got it. I mean,
Pedro
they
had a
needed,
great shot.
Pedro had a great shot,
Great
but on top of that, what led up to it? I
Mhm.
mean, you're talking about a tackle that just fell right back to the attacker,
Mhm.
which
Oh,
is
that's true.
unfortunate for Frankfurt. And then
Right.
they put it back to the top of the box and he shot it from there. But
Mhm.
other than that, yeah, I would say that Frankfurt does have a chance. I would be hedging my bets more towards Chelsea.
I think so too as
They
well.
want to
So
go
let's go to the next question. Predictions.
Predictions? I would say I would count on Chelsea winning 2-0 away from. I mean, at home.
Ahmed.
I'd say maybe a 3-1.
That's a good one. I like that.
I can see them scoring, especially since Jovic, I think that's his name. He's like, how old is he? He's like 23 or 20. In
I'm
his
not sure.
low
He's pretty
20s.
young, yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
young, and he's like already scored so many goals for them. I think it's like it's high tens, like 16ish goals.
Right.
Which is incredible. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like these young players really go out there. They want to prove something, and so they're not going to give up easily.
Right.
But honestly, what is going to be the biggest determining factor in this game is how Chelsea's form is that game. Like if they can actually pull themselves together and win that cup. I mean, get to at least the final.
Right.
Then if they can get past this game, I really can see them taking the final, winning the cup.
Right.
Which would be a good achievement for them. Like, they had a rough season. They
Ups
still
and
ended
downs.
up in third, and like coming with a Europa Cup, that would be a pretty good job. And like for a bar that's set really high for Chelsea, that they at least met.
At least you're bringing back some silverware.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. I like it. Well, I predict 2-1, but Ahmed, I don't know. It's been consistent. We'll see. See what's up.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, if you're right this week, I'm gonna give.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Life
Man. If you're right
savings.
this week, oh dude,
Go ahead and I'll talk to you next week after.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'm a bet next time. But anyway, we got now
It's like a
onto our
4-1.
next topic. We got the EPL Final Games coming up this Saturday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So we got big games coming up. We got the biggest one being, I think, my opinion, being the Liverpool versus Wolves, going against
You think that's the biggest one?
biggest one I
Is it
think
bigger
out
than
of
Man
all of
City
them.
one?
And
I mean,
Brighton's going
well-
against Man City.
Brighton versus Man City. See, that's the thing. Towards the end of the season,
Yeah.
these teams are just park and bust. Like,
Yeah.
and everyone wants to go out with honor and beat that big team, or not even beat that big team.
Yeah.
Be the
So-
reason why they lost the title, no less.
Exactly.
If
You will
can cost
be
that team
in
the
That's-
title-
history books.
that
You'll make
is
it in the
true.
history books if you like stop a big team. Like,
Like
their
City.
game is literally determining what happens in this cup.
Yeah, it's
So
legendary. It brings
it's
you up
legendary,
forever.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
people will be talking about it for weeks, months, years. Like
Brighton
it,
beat
it will
City.
never, it'll never be erased. So
Right.
I mean, can Brighton do it?
Well, hey, they did
I-
it against Arsenal, but Arsenal again, their form in the EPL has just been
Yeah.
pretty bad. these past few games.
It's really hard to say.
It's hard to say. Well,
Anything could happen in football.
looking at it
Anything's
this
happening,
way,
of course.
in their last 13 games, Man City is 13-0, and Liverpool is
As
11-2. So,
Yeah.
but you think they're due for a bad game? It's
The-
definitely possible.
it's been close. These past 2 games have been
It's
close.
been darn close. And
Right.
that company goal
Oh,
from last week
beautiful.
was a hell of
He
a
saved
goal.
them.
He saved
Beautiful.
them. That shot alone might have saved their title chance. But if that happens again, where they are relying upon that, because their offense produced almost nothing, regardless of their star power, they didn't produce a whole lot.
Yeah.
If they become reliant on that, it could be a problem for them. And given what Liverpool had just seen over the weekend, or the week, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that could be a big thing for them.
And,
Well, if we can go out and beat Barcelona 4-0,
Mm-hmm.
why can't Man City go out and lose a game? Why not?
Right.
That's really true. And a big thing about that game is that Leicester City really, like, they controlled like everything inside the 18. They were not letting Man City do anything like that, and that's how company's goal like soared through the net, because that was the one area that they were gonna get that goal.
What a perfect shot, too.
It was
though.
an amazing shot. And did you
Beautiful.
see the like people were saying that like videos, they had videos that Pep was saying, "Don't shoot." Like he was,
Aguero
was
It's like-
that was saying, "Don't
Nani,
shoot."
what do you say?
Like,
Nani, don't
pass
shoot.
it. And this guy,
That was
this
funny.
guy
Who wants their-
doesn't
who wants their center
flinch
back to
a
shoot from there?
second. Like he does not even flinch. He's like, I'm taking this
He,
shot.
he opened
Yeah,
up for a little
dude.
bit. He was like, he thought about it. You could see him push it forward just
Yeah,
another yard.
He didn't want to do it.
He didn't want to. You could
Yeah,
see it.
you
And
could
then
see
he
it.
pushed it forward another yard, and he just said, we'll take it.
Effortless.
This looks like a
you're
good
just,
spot.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sometimes
Just
your
35
body's just in the right position, and you feel it. Like
Yeah.
you're not going back on that decision, and that could be the goal that wins them the league.
Yeah.
Like,
It definitely could be. If
Yeah.
they would have drawn that game, it would have been over for them.
Exactly.
Because
I mean,
Liverpool
it would've-
came back against their game.
exactly. And I mean, obviously, Wolves can't be ruled out, and
Oh, never.
they're
yeah.
gonna be a pretty tough final game.
Yeah.
I'm sure they want to be a like the deciding
that puts their
factor.
title hopes out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're definitely gonna put a pretty hard game.
And Wolves have played a fantastic game against a lot of big clubs this season.
Always.
They're out for big clubs.
They've been.
They
feels
love
like they don't
love
even
winning.
care about the
Yeah,
smaller
unfortunately
ones.
for Liverpool, they're not a small club.
Exactly.
So
And they're playing home. They're playing home. At home.
it is
so,
at Anfield.
At Anfield.
And we've seen what Anfield does.
Exactly. Like,
So
it's gonna be an.
that'll be an interesting end of the season.
It's an interesting end to the season, but
Could see
I still
another-
see City sitting on top just because it's the only thing they're fighting for right now besides FA
Exactly.
Cup. Besides FA Cup.
and they have less games to worry about. They're
Yeah,
no longer going 2 games a week.
Exactly.
And stuff
Exactly.
like that. So
just
They could
because
go for another
because of
20
that.
I'm getting flashbacks from 2012 here.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Giving
the
Man City a little taste of their own medicine on that.
dude.
Yeah, right.
Just imagine. That'd be crazy because Liverpool could win. Oh no, I was about to say no, but they're not in the FA Cup actually.
No.
And
No.
Yeah,
and
no,
what's interesting, man, is so Man City last season finished with 100 points. That was the most ever recorded points for one team in the season.
Right.
Right now, if they win this last game, they're gonna win with 98 points, only
Wow.
2 shy of the highest
Triple
points ever
digits.
scored.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you that there's kind of a skill, a lack of skill distribution in the league
skill
right
gap.
now. Yeah, there's
Oh, I
a
see
skill
what
gap
you
in the
mean.
league. Like there's a bunch of players that world class players on one team, and everything else is kind of no longer distributed. The point difference between Liverpool, there's obviously Man City 95 points, Liverpool 94 points, and then 23
like a 20-point drop, right?
20
points.
point after that, yeah.
23 points after that comes Chelsea and Tottenham and
Well, yeah, every
Arsenal.
other club in the
so
Premier League has
there's
pretty much
clearly a
underproduced.
really all these teams underproduced. They could obviously most of them are having a not so hot season, and especially ending with a not so hot season.
Right.
Because most of these clubs were actually not doing that bad in the middle of the season, and even Man United picked up when they sacked their manager Jose.
Mhm.
But
when they sacked, especially when they picked up Solskjaer,
yeah,
they played a lot
Right.
better with him. But that's kind of worn off.
It
Yeah.
goes to show, I don't think there's a lack of skill in the league. I think there are a lot of great players out there. It just goes to show that, you can have good players, but if management isn't there, it's not just the coaching staff, it's not just the players, it's the whole, all around, the whole club has to be on the
Yeah.
same boat. And I feel like
No,
Liverpool,
definitely.
Man City are managed extremely well. And I think that's the biggest X factor that other teams like Man United are lacking.
yeah.
Cardiff this year also. Cardiff was lacking that. Wolves are doing great as well.
Yeah.
They excel their expectations because everyone's on that same boat. The fans, everything, the management.
Liverpool's just playing exactly like what their manager looks like.
Yeah.
That's
Seriously.
that's
What do you
exactly
mean?
what
What do
it
you
looks
mean?
like to
Yeah.
me. When I see
mean-
Liverpool play, I feel like I'm looking at Jurgen Klopp, Jurgen Klopp.
Oh.
I'm sorry, as
Yeah,
as a team.
he's a great coach.
The man,
He's a
a great
fantastic
coach.
coach. That
the
guy
man
turns
was a
teams around.
legend at Dortmund. These guys
Yeah.
adored the guy.
Yeah.
And he loved them just as passionately, and that is
Yeah,
what led the club to such great things. They
Took us to a UCL final for goodness
yeah,
sakes.
exactly. He gave the
Mhm.
fans what they wanted.
yeah.
It was definitely incredible.
Another big thing that happened over the weekend, actually, we had our Huddersfield versus Man United 1-1 draw. They were away, but again, against Huddersfield, the last place team, the team that has to say, conceded the most goals out of the entire league,
Yeah.
could only make one goal in the entire game.
I felt like this
Yeah.
is almost as low as it gets. This is as low
Yeah.
as Manchester United have
No.
dropped since Sir Alex has left.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Because when you look
Uh-huh.
at relegation teams against top 6 teams in the league, they are in games before this, they were 0-34,
Wow.
and they hadn't scored one goal,
Uh-huh.
and they'd conceded numerous.
Uh-huh.
But now after this game, they have scored one goal, which is more than the previous 34 combined,
Yeah.
and they got 1 point out of it, which is more points than all the previous games had gotten out of it. So
Uh-huh.
I think that Manchester United might just be at their all-time low since Fergie had left.
It could get lower. They could lose against Cardiff.
I think they
I-
know.
It
they,
could get
they
lower.
know
It
that
could get
Manchester
lower.
United know the season's over. The players know the season's over.
They look
And-
like they've just got
and
people out the
they
door.
know a lot of people are gonna go, and there's gonna be a lot of transitioning going on. They have $250
It's-
million to play with
It's going to be a big summer.
in the
for
summer,
them.
so
Yeah.
they definitely know that something has to happen to change.
It needs to.
It has
They're
to.
fantastic.
It
They're
has to.
one of the top
Oh.
clubs in the world at
They have
winning
the
everything.
yeah.
But
most history. They have the largest fan base. Even right now, they're still considered one of the biggest clubs in the entire world.
Aren't they the
So
richest club,
100%
right?
are.
Aren't they
They
the
are.
richest club, I think?
They are
They
the
are.
richest
Yeah.
club in the world.
In the world.
And they've been doing magic for years, so
they're fantastic.
they'll be back.
They
They'll be
sell
back.
fantastically,
Yeah.
but as far as on a player level, they're not doing well right now. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
how could you really? I mean, think about it. Paul Pogba's got a foot out the door.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's already-
he is winking and nodding at Real
Mhm.
Madrid the entire season,
Mm.
as well as David De Gea. It looks like he's about to go as well. He's
Uh-huh.
looked like a shell of his former self.
Mhm.
So I couldn't see them doing any worse than this.
Yeah.
They're going to need to make some big moves over the summer, else people are going to be.
That's for sure, and
Right,
it goes with the moves. It goes with like I hear that. Again, I don't want to put false information out there or not, but I feel like the management. You know how Mourinho wanted to make moves last summer. He wanted to make
Exactly.
moves. He wanted to get new defenders,
Yeah.
but the managerial people
Yeah.
they just didn't let him do it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things they have to be on that same page. Otherwise, they're not gonna go past just making money.
That's exactly what Mourinho was trying to buy the players.
Exactly.
And they were not giving him
They
money
need
to buy the players that he wanted, and
Uh-huh.
he told them like you can't expect the manager to, and it's just like how you can't judge any like managers like Unai Emery. You can't really judge his performance this season, even though he had a pretty decent season for his first time at Arsenal.
right.
Like you can't it's not his team exactly. Like
Mhm.
he didn't buy any players. He made Lacazette, Aubameyang. These are and other purchases. These are all done under Wenger. So like.
Yeah. You have to give a manager a season or two,
Yeah,
or else you're going to
exactly.
have the problem of kind of grading them on somebody else's work.
Yeah, exactly.
They
A
need to
season or
bring-
two
they need to
and the
develop their own
purchases
team.
that they actually want to purchase.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get on to our next topic. We got, we're talking about relegation here, but we also got to talk about the championship promotion. This weekend we have Aston Villa going against West Brom, and we got Derby County going against Leeds United, guys. So,
Go Leeds.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with my audience members, and of course my
Yeah.
co-host. I haven't followed championship too much, but it is important to talk about who's going to be in the EPL next summer. We already have, again, like we talked about last week, we have first name Norwich and Sheffield
Yeah.
United, right? So they're already up. Now we got playoffs. We talked about who we want through, but who do you think is gonna go through? We're just gonna do a quick discussion. Who do you think is gonna go through from West Brom, Aston Villa? Let's talk about that first. What do you think?
I think Aston Villa will move forward.
Aston Villa?
I think Aston Villa players have a lot to play for here.
The fans, they have a
Very
They have a
lot.
humongous fan base. They have
Yeah.
such a history in the Premier League. Maybe not with their success in it particularly, but just with the amount of time that they've been there. I feel like it's almost not owed to them, but they owe it to themselves to get back in,
Right.
and they owe it to the fans.
Last year they made it to the finals and they lost.
That
so
was- yeah,
that was
tough for
tough.
them.
That was tough.
But now they'll have that experience with it this year.
Right? I could see that. Ahmed?
What I was gonna say, because I remember looking at like current form for these teams, and I think Aston Villa's actually been in decent form, and the one team that actually hasn't been doing that good, I think, was Leeds. Leeds' last couple games,
Mhm.
well, they lost against Aston Villa, which is, they had they tied against Aston Villa. But they lost against Ipswich Town
Mm-hmm.
3-2, and Ipswich Town had a red card in that game. And
Oh, right. Remember that. Yeah.
Brentford and Wangan. That's 4 games in a row where they really didn't perform. So
Right.
I don't know how their chances are looking just because of their current form.
What do you think about
Even
West
though they're
Brom?
in third place.
West Brom versus
West
Aston.
Brom, as I said, I won't.
I know.
I'm biased
I remember you
about
telling
West
us.
Brom.
Yeah.
I want Ahmed Hijazi to come back to the Premier League.
Egyptian.
But, I'd say that's the team I want through.
All
Are they
right.
gonna make it through? Derby County literally just beat them this weekend 3-1. So
Oof.
I
It's a
don't-
good. It's a good.
I don't know if they're
It's a good look for Derby.
yeah.
Right.
So honestly, Derby probably will end up taking it, which would be cool because then you'd see Lampard.
Lampard back
yeah,
up.
Lampard
Lampard
coaching
back
in
coaching.
the Premier League.
So, just a quick thing. What do you guys think? Who's going through to the final?
Who I think's going to the final? I would
Two
have
teams.
to take. I would take Aston Villa,
And then
and then I don't know who's on the
Leeds
other side.
and versus Derby.
Probably Derby.
Really? Okay.
Probably Derby. Yeah.
All right, Ahmed.
Yeah, I'd say yeah, Aston Villa and Derby.
That'd be a great.
As
That'd be a
much
great
as I
final.
want West Brom to go through.
That'd be a great final.
I think Aston Villa wants it more at this moment,
Uh-huh.
just because they haven't been there in a long time. Even though West Brom just got relegated last season, but
Mhm.
Aston Villa really, and their fans would
Oh,
die for that.
my boss, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
he's a
man.
big fan.
Like,
He'd
this would
hey,
be such
I'd get a
big
raise.
moment for them.
I'd get a raise this weekend, so I just get
You're in a great mood. It's the perfect time to ask.
perfect time to ask for that raise.
Yeah, dude. It's definitely gonna be some good games.
All right, guys. So now, of course, what everyone's been waiting for, what everyone's here to listen for. I'm sorry we had to wait so long.
Isn't he
Today
the
we're
only
gonna
one that
talk
listens
about-
to this?
Huh?
Isn't he the only one that listens?
Yeah.
No, this is
Alfonso, I went to your house the other
my
day.
mom.
I saw-
Thanks again, Mom. Thanks for coming out
I
and
saw
listening, guys.
25 devices sitting around listening to the same podcast. Is that why we
Hey,
had 25
we
views?
got actually a lot of viewers on the first one, and of course, 10, 15, maybe,
10, 15?
maybe 20.
Wow.
About me.
This is what fame is like.
Oh my god. But anyway, we're gonna talk a little about. I'm gonna call this section. We're gonna call it soccer talk because we're talking about MLS, right?
Oh,
So and it's
jeez.
American. We gotta talk. Soccer. We call it soccer here. So we're gonna call this section soccer talk. We'll probably get like a little sound effect in there. All right. Good. All right. So anyway, we don't have a lot to talk about, of course, but there's something big that happened over this last week. Did you know?
How big was it?
Did
Was
you
it just
did you
monumental?
know it was?
monumental.
Did you know it was
Monumental.
deadline day last week?
Wow, I
what?
must
I
have
had.
missed it.
I must have missed it. Oh man, I had no idea.
I had
It was-
literally anything better to do. My bad.
I wasn't following closely.
I was sleeping probably.
I was watching the Met Gala guys. Yeah, I was watching that.
Ah.
Oh jeez.
Um,
That might be the only thing worse.
oh my god! But I didn't even know that, so that's a big thing. Look out for that.
Me.
And the whole reason we're talking about MLS, the biggest thing, the reason I want to include it is just our philosophy is to grow the sport here in the United States, and that's the biggest reason why I want it. It's true. Tristan, what do you think? Come on, man.
Maybe I should be less
Way to-
condescending towards
way,
the
way to interject the philosophy to try to get
There's a reason, There's a reason for this, all right? It's not
it's a
just to have-
business reason.
It's a business. They're sponsoring.
I mean, we
On a-
do want to be
on a
contenders in the
business
World
level.
Cup one day, right?
All
Exactly.
25 viewers
You know?
just skipped over this 3-minute
And
segment.
what? U.S. is hosting the cup in what year?
26. 26,
Yeah, okay, so
It will
by
kind
that
of
time,
US.
hopefully the youth has.
Oh
picked
yeah,
up
yeah,
a
yeah.
bit.
It's Mexico and
It's
Canada.
US, Mexico, and Canada.
Yeah.
More importantly, Mexico.
Pretty much the entire North
But I
American
can see
region.
the final being in the U.S.
Okay,
No,
if
it's got to be
not,
U.S.
then
I think there's only
Yeah.
3 games or 6 games in Mexico, 6 games
Yeah.
in Canada. I think. I don't quote me
Or
on that.
another sus, so.
No.
Another big thing that happened in MLS, FC Cincinnati, they dropped their coach. His name is Alan Koch.
Well, that's
Koch. Koch.
That's what happens when you're losing games in a row,
Still
isn't
a big
it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, they took him out after a really bad start to the season. Although they weren't the last place of their division, I
Which
think,
is shocking.
which is crazy
When you
because
go 0-7.
in the past 7 games, it's been pretty bad. I think I was reading an article about there's only been out of the new expansion teams, the only successful teams that have come out have been New York City FC,
Mhm.
LAFC, Atlanta United.
Well, it's tough to say. I mean, when you talk
Well,
about those have had so much success. So.
Let me tell you why, though. I mean, if you compare those over like Orlando or who else? What's another small market team? I know this one. I know this. Give me another one. Small market team. Nashville. That's coming in.
You're
They're
talking
coming
New
in.
England?
Huh?
New England?
They're not. No, they're not new. But either way, they're. What I'm trying to say here, though, is that it's a big market. Of course, it's successful. They have the team. They have the money to pay for those managers. They have.
Yeah.
They have the coaching staff. They have the people to pay for, right? But when we're talking about a small team like FC Cincinnati trying to do the same thing that Atlanta United is trying to do or New York City FC is trying to do,
Yeah.
it's not going to work because it's a small. It's not as well funded as LAFC, Atlanta United. You can't get the best coaches. You can't try. Who's going to go to Cincinnati?
That's gonna
You know?
be what the
Exactly.
MLS
Which
is
player?
though. Until,
Right?
I mean, I don't want to turn this into some sort of debate, but
No, yeah.
that's what the MLS is going to be until they decide to opt into the relegation/promotion ideal.
Yeah.
Or
because
at least
you're gonna continue to have terrible teams
Right.
who are gonna drop to the bottom and they're gonna stay there for a long time because there's no market. There's
And-
no market in Orlando City to watch soccer.
Exactly, and no one would want to come to the MLS because the competition's not there yet.
The competition's not there, and the thing you need the actual teams to sign off on that,
Right.
and they have no reason to because if you're a terrible, like let's just say you're New England and you're
Mhm.
at the bottom of the table, there is no reason why I'd want to sign on to be relegated because I'm just gonna lose the promotion, the sponsors. I'm gonna lose a lot of TV time as well.
Uh-huh.
That's gonna just be a problem until they decide to switch it. So
Yeah.
it makes it difficult.
I agree, and it also comes down to should we be looking over profit or should we look into development? And I feel like there's sometimes
it's sometimes tied together. I mean, like
it's true. I think they go hand in hand, but sometimes the business owners that are managing these clubs, they're just looking for the quick buck. You know what I'm saying? And they're not looking at quality. But how can we make this league better? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and that's the biggest thing.
It's not necessarily their problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. I mean, if your club is being
Exactly.
profitable, like if you're one of those top clubs, if you're Philadelphia, if you're DC,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter to you because you're at the top of the table. The people that it really matters to are going to be people who are getting relegated.
Right.
So you're talking about FC Cincinnati, New England, Orlando City, because they will end up dropping down and losing sponsors is a big deal for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough situation for the entire league. They really ought to switch it, but
they need to change. I mean, if we get more teams, I mean, again, they're big market teams, of course, but like LAFC is doing great. I love the fan base, how they're incorporating everyone into there.
That team feels like they're doing it right.
Right,
Yeah.
and Atlanta United as well. Well, and it's just
They've done it right for both.
man. I just wish
soon.
It's soon. I think we're in the
gonna
beginning
pick up.
stages. It's better. It's got to get better.
The league is like 20 or 30 years old.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to remember, leagues like the Premier League,
They're
it's
like
80 years, 100 years, 130 years old.
Right.
So
80 more years, guys.
Yeah.
We won't be around.
We won't be around.
We won't be around here.
We
but-
started the movement. We started the movement. It was us, guys.
We're a part of it.
All right, guys. So to end our show, we got, of course, the question of the day for today's big question of the day.
Oh boy.
We got a drum roll right there, and
Woo.
today we got a very nice question. So last week we got our winner, Michael Milner, reigning champ from last week.
What can I say?
Barely won. I think it was kind of rigged, but.
Selling it right now.
So today's, I'll make it a little easier on you guys, and for me, we got. So
How much easier can it get? You write the questions.
hey, if you have any questions, listeners, if you have any
please.
questions,
Actually,
Is that
we
what
got
you
a
were-
fan question today.
Is that what you were reading before I came in here?
what?
The
No,
answer to
dude,
the
that was not even.
Wow.
Actually, Ahmed and I, we thought about this earlier before. The question of the day. So Ahmed and I have the big advantage here.
All right. Well, I want to answer that. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
But before we do that, if you do have any questions for us, email it at footballah.podcast@gmail.com. Email us any questions. I will, of course, read them first. And just kidding.
Michael will get them.
Yeah, the man.
once
They will
it's
get
20
them the day
minutes.
of.
After nights of research.
After researching. Oh,
Be sure to send them me directly the day after that we do the podcast, so I have a whole week to prepare.
So send it at footballah.podcast@gmail.com, and of course, you know, I'll do my thing.
Wow. All right.
So what's the question?
Anyway, the question is, we got, what do you think was the bigger game for this week? Liverpool versus Barcelona, almost forgot, or Ajax versus Tottenham.
Which was the biggest comeback?
Which was, or at least the most entertaining, or the bigger deal, I guess you could
What's
say.
the bigger deal? All right.
Ahmed, go first.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say Barcelona was the biggest comeback, and the bigger deal, because even though Tottenham did have to really push it in that last half, they came into the game 1-0. They kind of led themselves to the situation they were in towards the end. Obviously, it took insane amount of effort for them to bring back that score, but they came into that leg knowing it was 1-0. They should have stepped it up from minute one and not conceded those goals. They could have had a much easier game.
Rough start.
They had a rough start.
That's true.
And so, Barca, on the other hand, Liverpool coming back to Anfield, 3-0. They played one of the best games they could, and still only weren't able to get one goal in. Conceded 3 goals. You gotta imagine these players feeling, and the whole world is telling them they're not gonna move forward.
Right.
That's it. And even some of their fans were out there, and even last week we were saying.
We were all saying it was over.
We said it was.
I said there was a small chance, but
I said it was over.
I said there was a small chance,
Uh-huh.
but I mean, Anfield proved all of us wrong.
Exactly.
And so that's why I definitely think that was the harder game.
All right. Michael?
I have to agree. I think that the bigger comeback was Barcelona and Liverpool. I'm sorry for your phone, but it's easily the biggest game. And the reason why is because you're going into a game 3-0, so you are well beaten. You not only have to maintain one of the most prolific goal scorers in the world in Luis Suarez, but you also have to stop right now the undoubtable best player in the world in Lionel Messi. So I think that comeback is so much greater, especially when you're talking about going into this game without a couple of your starters, and not even just your starters, but your key players to this team. I mean, that front three and Mane, Mohamed Salah, and Roberto Firmino are what that team's offense is completely based off of. Just to see Origi come in and play the way that he did, and have Wijnaldum come off the bench and go and play the way that he did, it has to be the Barcelona versus Liverpool game. In my eyes, that's undoubtable.
And the fact that they're playing at home, like any goal conceded, that's it. It's over.
Yeah, you concede one time to those guys, and now you gotta beat them.
Like Tottenham, they can concede goals. They're at what
They're
Ajax's home.
They're in
and
Amsterdam.
Every goal that Tottenham score is a huge threat to Ajax. So honestly, I think that's not even arguable that it was bigger. But not taking away from Tottenham, that was a fantastic game. Right. They deserved the win. And
yeah, that was incredible. Last minute as you can get.
What's your argument?
Let me get in this, guys. Let me get this. Everyone there was going for the losing arguments all the time. So let me get you guys in right here. So
if you think of better questions, you get
right here. Listen up. So I'm never gonna agree when it's 2-1. Right? We gotta make it a little interesting. So I'm gonna play again. Round 2 of Devil's Advocate, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
3 points for me.
Check this out. Ajax versus Spurs. Biggest game of the week. Game of the season. Let me tell you why.
The kids playing are younger than you.
Spurs. let me talk, Michael. You have your time. Right? Spurs were down already 1-0.
Let's hear this.
Already 1-0 from previous game. 1-0. Away goal. All right.
Damning.
Then
almost like 3-0.
Then they were down.
Almost.
Wait a second. Then they were down by 2-0 in the half.
Very convincing.
Right? 3-0. Basically down 3-0. They had to come back second half, make not only 2 goals to tie the game, but another goal to get those 3 away goals and get on to the next game. And let me tell you the suspense that I was feeling.
Your emotions have nothing to do
My
with it.
emotions, man. I was going crazy. I was in the library trying to study. I couldn't focus.
When do you ever focus?
I couldn't focus. All right.
Things on your Instagram
to finish it off, Lucas Moura, last legit on the dot, on the 5-minute stoppage time, scores an amazing goal, shuts up the youngins.
Oh my god.
Right? It's like it was one of the greatest games I've watched.
It was definitely more suspenseful.
Right? It was more suspenseful. Thank you.
No, but
appreciate it. No, thank you, Alma. You agree?
Tell me.
Write that down, Tristan. Write that down, Tristan.
That Barcelona game, you did not witness the greatest comeback of all time. Barcelona. These are
the greatest
top
comeback
of the
since
world.
this exact time last year.
Yeah.
Greatest comeback yesterday, maybe.
Yeah.
But today.
Yeah, no, I think that there's just such a humongous difference in. So Tottenham beat a bunch of kids, and literally kids.
Well, let me
They're
tell you
almost our
this.
age. I mean, think about it. And
Yeah.
you're talking about Liverpool coming back to beat a Barcelona side that is matured. You have World Cup winners on that team. You have teams that have been to the Champions League final. A lot of that team is the same team that's been to the Champions League final and won it in 2015.
Uh-huh.
And you're beating them, not only just beating them, but dominating them from first to last minute, all the way through. With the players that they have, that's an unbelievable feat.
Right.
So it's hands down.
Here goes another argument right here. Barcelona wasn't having the best game either. Coutinho played not so well. Messi didn't play that well. Piqué didn't have a good game at all.
But why did they not play a good game?
Yeah.
Huh? Because their mentality wasn't in there. That means that it was easier for Liverpool to score those 4 goals, making it harder.
Undoubtedly
Spurs
wrong.
played away in Ajax. Guys, all right, I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
All right, guys, we're taking over this show.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
Kick Alfonso off the set here.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to agree with them. I actually agree. I actually do think that Liverpool.
And we made some solid points.
I think Liverpool.
Alfonso speaking here.
So Tristan, I think
Award
you have the
points
obvious
already.
answer right here.
Let's hear who
Go
did
with,
it.
the better Alfonso.
Right here? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
The butter house.
All right, guys. So we got Ahmed got a point.
And
Like the way you described it the first part.
no,
I think it was a very nice
Oh
story.
yeah. Why?
thank you.
What was the most entertaining argument?
Just hear you try to
Thank you
fucking
very
say
much.
something.
I get points for that. I get like
Yeah, I'm
That's
kidding.
like
entertainment points.
0.01.
I get. Okay, I'll write that down. Write that down.
All right.
Just in
Look
case
at
it
right
ties
down.
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Hey, it's gonna come down to the.
The way that he writes these questions, I mean,
Hey,
I'm
fans,
telling you,
again, we'll if you got any questions, send us at football with 2 L's, ah.podcast@gmail.com. But anyway, guys, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once more for joining us for the second episode, official episode of the
Thank you.
Football Amateur Show. Woo! Yeah. Woo. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
you're very well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to leave you hanging like that.
Before we go, guys, again, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Breaker.
You're just making shit up.
No, there is one called Breaker, actually.
Oh.
Tune in and YouTube. Subscribe on there. Give us 5 stars. Leave us a like. And if you'd like to support us, do so at anchor.fm/the-football-amateur-show/support. Help us a lot. Get us some new equipment. Get us some better questions. Get us some better funding.
Some better questions, definitely. And I
Better
mean,
funding for
I lost my credit card, so anybody who wants to help out with that.
But anyway, guys, thanks again so much for listening. We got anything else to say? Anything else?
And is
Nothing.
that football with double O's or you?
Football with double O's. Oh, that's a good
Okay.
Or
question.
with you in an accent.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Double O's, guys.
Double O's, double O's. All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much
Thank you, guys.
for listening.
Yeah.
This second episode of the Football Amateur Show was produced by yours truly, Alfonso Castañeda, Tristan Mancilla, joined by Ahmed Amarji and Michael Milner. Also, credit to our composer, Jeremy Fields, our graphic designer, Claire Sum, and of course, appreciation to our viewers, listeners like you.